In 2021, Democrats and the Biden regime unjustly used January 6th to prop up this woke working group to provide cover for unjustly targeting members of our military. The so-called countering group extremist activity working has been weaponized and implemented to almost exclusively target Republicans, conservatives, and libertarians serving in the military. And yet, by its own metrics, it has been a massive waste of money and time. The Defense Department continues to spend large amounts of time and money to combat extremism, yet its own analysis of the situation shows that it's entirely unnecessary. In fact, fewer than 100 service members have been subject to the discipline due to engagement in extremist activities.
If someone is truly a patriot, they would not be offended by trying to find out who's an extremist that might be in a bunk next to you, might be in a foxhole next to you. There's nothing radical about that. There's nothing leftist about that.
My colleagues allege that the department's efforts to counter extremist activities unfairly targets conservatives. There's nothing in the Countering Extremist Activity Working Group's final report to substantiate that allegation, because violent extremism, regardless of its political or partisan leaning, is a danger to all of us and to this democracy. But there can be no denial that far-right extremism is surging across the country at a much higher level than that of left-wing extremism. A recent study showed that violent extremist acts in the United States were far more likely to be associated with far-right ideologies like white supremacy than for any far-left alternative. In fact, the level of violence perpetrated by right-wing extremists in this country is on par with, if not higher than, that of Islamist extremists. In our country, where service members have access to critical national security information and assets, individuals motivated by extremist ideologies can pose an outside threat to our national security when they move beyond fair and legal expression of contentious issues and into subversive or even violent actions. Tackling extremism in our military is not about promoting wokeness, which my colleagues continue to be obsessed about. It's about protecting our people and our country.
This is the problem I have, not just with Lauren Boebert, but please include Lauren Boebert, with all of these Republicans pretending that they are all about our military and service members and veterans, and that their job is to protect the bond of these so-called American patriots, even those that are white supremacists, even those who participated in an active attempt at overthrowing our government. Keep in mind, this is the same energy that held people getting death threats over turned down Confederate monuments. If you don't believe me, think about this. How is it that we're trying to investigate counter group extremists within our military? Give the Department of Defense the ability to take a look and take this serious as a problem. And there's an amendment from Boebert about this very thing.
It is really sad that the Republican majority has decided to use the annual defense authorization bill as sort of a vehicle for their favorite pet causes, knowing cynically that, as you indicated, it's not going to pass the firewall in the Senate, and it's not going to be signed into law by President Biden. But that hasn't stopped them. And it is a sad day because in the past, we had strong bipartisan coalitions to protect the national security and national defense.
This idea that she can just get up there and say all of the conservative word soup, all of the key phrases, 8 of them in this one little speech: woke, DEI, liberal ideology, China and Russia. We need to project strongness, protect our nation, race and gender, national security. Everything Republicans say and everything Republicans don't give a damn about is all we heard from Boebert. If they truly cared about military readiness, where was her outrage when a Republican senator held up any confirmations? We went without a commandant of the Marine Corps, which I am a veteran of, because of a Republican senator wanting to play political games with the lives and the readiness of our entire military, giving us or taking away the ability to name strategies that could actually protect national security. DEI is code for the N-word. This implication that Black people that get jobs or making equitable stances so that people that are not white men can get hired in a way that looks at their entirety and not just their race is a problem for these people because they want to say N-word. It's their new way to say the N-word. The belief that wokeness is a bad thing when the definition of wokeness, unless you are on that side, the definition of wokeness is simply to say, I am aware of injustices that are happening to some people, but not others. They have weaponized that definition and made it mean something completely different. They've made it mean something that is anti-white. Again, I will posit that it means to them to be the N-word. That's what all of this is about. I don't care if you need to dress it up to make you feel comfortable, but what we're dealing with is a group of white people whose entire platform is to demonize and otherize people that are not white or white adjacent to the point where it doesn't feel human to do disservices to them. Pretending that white people, MAGAs and conservatives, have the right to join the military, even though they are participating in activities that are counter to our culture or what should be our culture, meaning equity or the right to pursuit of life, liberty, and all of the other things that are named in the Constitution for people that are not white. So here's what I say to Lauren Boebert and the likes. Go to hell. I'm Mondale Robinson. It's that simple. If you don't believe in equity, if you think DEI is a bad term, if you think wokeness is a bad term, if you think thinking liberally is a bad term, then I have a wonderful vacation spot for you. Satan's waiting on you. Go get your rock, your hot ass rock. I'm Mondale Robinson. Don't sign up for hell.